What's up everyone? Last night we found out who the first member of the Big Brother 23 jury is, and a brand new HOH has been crowned, and Big D has had some choice words about it as we enter the second week of the High Roller Room. We've got so much to talk about, guys, so welcome to your live feed update. Okay folks, so today's question is a simple one. Let me know in the comment section below who you would like the new head of household, Sarah Beth, to nominate for eviction this week. Who would you like to see targeted and sent out the Big Brother house? I guess you can also ask yourself, if you were in there right now and you were the head of household, who would you be putting on the block to send out the door? So let me know folks in the comment section below who you would like to see targeted for eviction this week. Alright folks, so first things first, I just want to take a little moment to say how much damn respect I've got for Britini. She went out like a trooper, and I tweeted this last night because I was kind of like, I'd made my peace with Britini going, and I was kind of just like, okay, and I tweeted this last night, and I said something along the lines of, listen, right, listen, as Big Brother fans, there's nothing we can ask for, or literally the only thing we can ask for is somebody to have fighting spirit when they are down. We complain every single time we've got house guests that don't do anything well on the block. Britini, every single time she was down, she stood up, she had a fighting spirit, and she gave it every single damn thing she got. Yes, she got upset along the way, yes, she got emotional, but guess what? Every single time she turned herself around and said, you know what? I'm going to fight. I've got this opportunity. I realise a ton of people would kill to be in the Big Brother house out there, so I'm going to fight to the absolute death, and that she actually did until she was actually sent out the house last night. So I've got nothing but good words and respect for Britini. Huge respect to Britini. Thank you for playing the game, and just massive respect to her again. Alright folks, so in the head of household competition last night, a huge congratulations to Sarah Beth, and man, what a close one we had there with Derek X. That was... woo, that was so close. I mean, that was just, it was crazy. It was really crazy. I put on my Twitter yesterday, I said this will be a moment that will go down in Big Brother history as a what if or what could have happened, and that my tweet did blow up, so thank you to those of you who did like that, and it got about, I think, 1.3 thousand likes, so that was crazy. So thanks so much to everybody who liked that one. And it's true, if Derek X had just taken the other beam at the start and not the really thin one, he could have been head of household. And listen, I still say massive props to Sarah Beth though, because she did it. She didn't fall off. She went smooth, slow as smooth as fast, and she smashed it. So a huge congratulations to Sarah Beth. But somebody who isn't necessarily congratulating Sarah Beth is Big D. We saw him griping straight away to Xavier in the bathroom, saying some very choice words that is going to put me right back up on the block. Ooh, Big D is not happy there. He is, it was a bit uncalled for, I believe, to say that to Sarah Beth. It was a bit mean. No need to call her that. Definitely no need to call her that. So, and I really like Big D as well. I think he's very entertaining, but I wasn't happy with what he said there. I think that was a bit harsh. But Big D is really hilarious most of the time. But if you can just tone it down there and not say derogatory things like that, then that would be better. But I mean, I think Big D kind of has a right to be annoyed in a way. The fact that he was kind of saying like he felt bad because he was saying it's made for skinny people, that challenge. That's straight up what he said. And it's tough, but listen, I respect him. He's hustling, he's working out every single day, and I've got nothing but respect for that. But I just think he needs to be careful in the way he's phrasing things like that towards Sarah Beth. See, I do try and I'm trying to be fair with every single house guest, but just don't be calling people names like that. I think it's a bit below the belt. But anyway, I would say Big D stands a chance of being a pawn this week. Not necessarily the target, but speaking of that, let's actually talk about who is going to find themselves on the block this week as a pawn, or even can't get my words out there, folks, as a pawn or even a target. I'd also love to know, folks, who are you voting this week in the High Roller Room to receive the Big Brother books? Of course, last week we saw the 100 book getters. That sounded random. The 100 book getters as Derek X, Britini, and Big D. And of course, Britini's gone now, so someone's going to get bumped up, or it could just be 3 random, new people, so we don't even know. I did see something on Twitter earlier kind of saying that, I think it was a rumour going around, obviously there could be no truth to it, but it's looking like the top 3 vote getters as of now are going in the direction of Derek X, Arza and Claire, or either Derek X, Big D and Claire, which is, that's a change from last week. I think people realise Claire's in trouble and they've bumped her up. Arza, again, another one who's kind of looking to be at the bottom now. Her getting bumped up is brilliant as well. People still showing support for Derek X. I'm liking to see it. I mean, it's very interesting to see where things are going to go, and it should give a good feel for kind of what we're going to see with twists implemented this week as well. Because, of course, the Coin of Destiny and the Roulette Wheel are yet to be played. So we're, of course, going to talk about that as well. So Sarah Beth started her one-to-one talks around about 8 PM, 9 PM, and we know from previous experience of Carlin being the head of household that whenever he is in there or has a form of power. This week his form of power is in the form of Sarah Beth. He likes to talk and talk and talk and talk a bit more with a little bit of talk on top of that. So they were still talking, Sarah Beth and Kyland, around about 5 a.m, 6 a.m. So literally till the crack of dawn. So you guys are probably watching this video now if you've watched it when it's just been uploaded. They were literally talking about 1 hour ago, 1 hour and a half ago, something like that. So it's, you know, it's full speed ahead. It really is, and there's all this talk of who's going to be the pawn and who's going to be the target. I think heard every single name being thrown around at one point by Sarah Beth, not necessarily as a target but as a pawn, which is, you know, it's going to be crucial today. Watch the feeds today, folks. Watch them if you can, because there's going to be so much talk of who's actually going to be on the block, because it still hasn't been decided. But I'm going to talk through some of the pairs of ideas of pawns that and potential targets that Sarah Beth threw out, because it's so hard to call it right now because she said so many damn names. So there was the idea of Claire and Tiff. Obviously that would be the cookout idea of Tiffany's plan of putting the pawn plus the cookout member next to each other on the block, and the cookout would save the cookout member. Obviously Sarah Beth isn't in the cookout, so that doesn't sort of follow suit with her. There's the idea of putting Claire and Big D on the block again. There's Claire and Arza. Arza and Big D. Alyssa and Xavier. There was just, I would say Claire's name was thrown around the most, but only Claire was thrown around as the pawn the most, if that makes sense. But obviously we know in Big Brother the pawn can go home, so things could go disastrously for Claire should she end up on the block. It's really anyone's game. It really, really is. And I think even Kylan put me and Claire on the block. So Kylan was volunteering to go on the block because he was so convinced that he would get pulled off the block. It would be very, very interesting if Kylan and Claire went on and Claire won the veto, or somebody used the veto on Claire and then another cookout member went up next to Kylan. That would obviously put a split, but I think Kylan would have enough sway to get Sarah Beth to not put a cookout member up, keeping Kylan safe, sending whoever is on the block next to Kylan at the end of the week go home. But I think Sarah Beth is convinced that Kylan wouldn't necessarily be as safe as he thinks he is with people using the veto on him, so I don't think she's going to put up such a close ally, being Kylan, on the block. So it's going to be an interesting one. It really is. There's so many names getting thrown around. If I was a betting man, I would say Claire could be the one who ends up definitely as a pawn on the block. But then, like we discussed earlier, with Claire looking like she could be a front runner for the high roller room this week, the roulette wheel could go in place. So reminder everyone for the roulette wheel. This, if you win it, it gives you the chance to remove a nominee from the block, and then you spin the roulette wheel and it picks out the next nominee. So the head of household doesn't even have a say in who the roulette wheel is going to pick up. This is Viva Las Vegas, folks. This is Kenny Rogers. No one to hold him, no one to fold him. It's anyone's game. Viva Las Vegas, guys, and anything could happen. That's the beauty of Vegas, but it's also the sadness of Vegas. It's everything rolled around in one. Just, man, you just don't even know what's going to happen. Imagine if something crazy happens. This could literally derail Sarah Beth's head of household. This could derail the cookouts plan. This could derail the people who are on the bottoms plan. It could derail anyone's plan. There could be a lot of derailing. It could, you know, anything can happen, like I say, guys. And I'm very, very intrigued as to see where it's going to go, because obviously I think a lot of people are probably going to be feeling not safe this week with Sarah Beth's head of household, because I don't think many people anticipated it, and people kind of feel like she's unpredictable, as proven by all these pawn names getting thrown around. So I would imagine a lot of people will be playing in the high roller room this week. Now, of course, a lot of you will be thinking that Hannah would be Sarah Beth's target, because there was obviously a little bit of a feud going on a couple of weeks ago, and I wouldn't even rule that out yet, because Sarah Beth, she was kind of talking to the camera towards the end of the night, and she was saying, I have my target idea and I have my backup idea, but I'm not going to say it yet because she doesn't want to come across as one of those players who didn't get the target she wants and then has to kind of scramble afterwards. So 100% it could still be Hannah, and it could be Derek X as well. I mean, there was even talk of a potential backdoor of Derek X if Xavier's got sway as a fellow king of Sarah from back in the day, Sarah Beth back in the day, then that could come in play. But with her even discussing, you know, putting Xavier and Alyssa on the block, that would be her betraying her ex-kings, and very much gives the energy of row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, win the veto, earn your safety, and betray your team. That classic, guys, from a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, she's unpredictable as hell. This is a really unpredictable head of household, and it literally could be anybody that could be Sarah Beth's target. That is all of your live feed updates for today, folks. I thoroughly hope you all enjoyed watching today's video. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, how you're feeling about this season so far. We're happy to see Britini evicted last night, or should it have been Big D? Sarah Beth is the new head of household. How are you feeling? How did you feel when Derek X missed out by a tiny millisecond at the very end of the head of household competition. Who would you like to see Sarah Beth target this week? Who would you like to get the BB books? Who have you voted for the BB books? There's so much things to talk about, guys, so drop your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd really appreciate it. But folks, I'll say as I always do, make sure you're staying safe, staying positive and staying healthy out there, and be kind to one another. But in the meantime, please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. But until your next live feed update, I've been your host Tom Vasey. Good night.